Welcome to Empowered by AI. I'm Michelle Nutsi Silva. This podcast is for women building what's next and using AI with intention. In Season 6, you'll hear from founders, educators, creatives, and builders who are actually using AI to think better, work smarter, and move with intention. We're learning from conversations about readiness, literacy, and taking action, because every episode gives you ideas you can use immediately. Let's get into it. Miss Charity Youngblood.
Oh, I love how you said that.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk to you.
Glad to be here. Oh my gosh, what an honor. I'm fine.
Okay, so I want you to take a minute. We're going to do logistics first. Take a minute, introduce yourself to the beautiful people, and then I cannot wait to hear about what you are creating right now, because we're going to be happier living in your world for a little bit. So,
Oh my gosh, Michelle, the world is a better place because you are in it. Like if we're gonna tell the truth on this podcast, we're gonna go on and tell the truth. Oh, but okay, so Charity Youngblood, you already said my name way better than I would have said it. But the most important thing to know about me is I'm a character. Like, I love to laugh. I love to make other people laugh. I am as animated as they come. And I have to thank my parents for really letting me be me. Like, I didn't really have issues with being me until I got into society. And that's not always, you know what I mean? Like, that's not always the case. So just shout out to my parents for doing it and really encouraging me to be me. But yeah, I think it's so interesting because I always like to kind of highlight my personality, because and we had this conversation of I don't focus on work. I am so interested in who a person is at their core. And so my kind of life's journey has been just exploring that internally, and then also, getting to know people on that level. But saying all that to say, my actual career piece is I've been helping women protect their time, energy, and peace for over 15 years. So definitely it's been a journey in kind of understanding how to bring that into a career that I am passionate about. And we're starting that. We're kind of seeing that flourish. So that's what I got for now. That's my little, 20-second intro. It probably was like 40 seconds. I don't know.
I'm down. I'm down. Make it an hour.
No, God, no.
A full hour. No, I was literally just having this conversation the other day because it was like, okay, there are so many different ways to find satisfaction and passion, and I guess it is satisfaction, but fullness of self, I think, maybe in more encapsulating, right?
Yes.
Than there used to be. And rather it's AI breaking down barriers or just the way we've been able to create access and community.
Yeah.
I think there are just so many possibilities right now that they didn't exist when my
100%.
parents were. I mean, you want to talk about family, when my parents, there was a path, right, that you needed to walk to. My mom was all about independence, right? She wanted me to grow up to be independent of any other individual. And so that meant something to her. And it was a particular path you were supposed to walk. And so God love her. Love her intention, love what was behind her commitment to me walking that path. But I'm looking around today and I'm like, I don't have to have a single path that I'm trying to get my children to walk down, right? Because it's doors wide open.
Yes. And it's so interesting you say that too, because we've had a little bit of this conversation the last time we spoke, because I was like, Michelle, I'm super honored to be on your podcast and I will absolutely be on. But I don't know if your audience is going to want to hear from me, because I'm not in the corporate space anymore. And we can talk about that in a minute. But even along my, the jobs that paid the bills, it was really all about personal growth, understanding who I am, understanding other people. And so not only has that, to be honest, that's been what saved me, because now I'm creating a business from what I do. Like, I live what I teach. And I
Mhm.
never even thought that that would be an option for a career. I just am curious. I'm just naturally curious about how people think and how they behave, and how some people can take this path and have a totally different experience. And so it's so interesting, because same thing, like my parents were, love them to death, but same thing, go to college, go into corporate, and I get into corporate and I'm like, oh my God, I hate this place. I didn't know there was any other option until there was. And to your point, I think that's the difference. There really wasn't an option for most of us who wanted to, I don't know, live on something other than water and like bread. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're right.
That middle class reality that our parents, I mean, really, I was just listening to something the other day. They were talking about how that middle class was created post World War II, and it was narrow as all hell, right? There was one path for this type of person, and it's just, I think it's just been one of our callings is just to explode the shit out of it. Yeah, but all right. Well, the that because why? Why is there only that one way, right?
Yeah.
So I want to hear about how you're diving into your passions and moving that forward. So that's what I want to hear about because we're just exploding old.
Uh, I love it. I love every second of that. It's so interesting. I absolutely am going to answer your question, because I do play by the rules. Can I say it? Sentiment stuff. But it's interesting because they were talking about this, this is maybe a little too woo-woo, but the paradigm shift that's coming in 2027. And that's the word they're using. They're like exploding into, and I think we need that. I think this is the time where people are just being sick and tired. So I love every second of it. But yeah, I've always kind of had something on the side to that passion kind of comment. I've never been able to turn my quote unquote passions into a living wage, but I am like deeply connected to curiosity, to creativity, and to imagination. Like, that's kind of those three that kind of move through me. And so I've always had to have some kind of project going on the side, some kind of business, some kind of something that can kind of feel those juices. And so last year when I was, laid off from corporate, it was like, it wasn't a blessing at first, because I was like, I had trips that I need to take, and now I got to cancel my trips, and I got to figure out where this money don't come from for rent. Like, it was, I haven't be like, it's a blessing. Not at first, boo. Eventually, it was like the kick that I needed. And I think because I got to this point of like, girl, you've always had something on the side. Why don't you bet on yourself? Like, the universe has been telling you for 15 years, you're doing this little by little. Bet on yourself. You're going to do it. Why not? Like, this is not a dress rehearsal. So I think and I'm explaining that because I know, I mean, I love, your podcast. So I know your listeners there's going to be someone that needs to hear that. So I just want to provide that, not that she needs it, but permission to really take that on yourself, whatever that looks like. It doesn't need to be 100% jump off the cliff, but what does taking that bet on yourself, what does taking that step, jump, leap, whatever that looks like for you, but just understand that it's possible. You do not have to stay in the same space. So that's very important for me, because whoever needs to hear that, I feel like I have to share that. But saying all that to say, because I've spent so much time in the space of personal development and emotions and boundaries, I'm able to teach what I teach, which is really helping women protect their time, energy, and peace. So this masterclass, this spring masterclass that I'm super excited about, which launches very soon, March 17th. So it is all about why your time doesn't feel like your time and what to do about it. And so this is really this chance to, like I said, I've kind of been doing this for a long time. And with the advancements of AI and ChatGPT, or your AI platform of choice, I've been able to bring in that external, what should I call it? Like that other alternative perspective that ChatGPT brings. And so through this masterclass, we set it up into 4 segments. So we determine specifically where your 16 hours are actually going. So we start with your day off, right? If you have 8 hours of sleep, then that means you had 16 hours to do whatever it is that you need to do, be embodied. So we're determining where is that 16 hours actually going? Then we move forward to identify what is one activity that is actually taking more than it gives. The third segment is all about defining what is essential to you in this season of your life. And to be honest, I mean, it's my master. So obviously I want you to like engage with all 4 segments, but that alone is where the transformation, like I can't tell you how many women I've come in contact with that are talking about chasing some past version of themselves, chasing some future version of themselves. And I'm like, honey, stay in the present with me. Your priorities have probably changed from a year ago, 10 years ago. Define what is essential in this season. So we walk through step by step, figuring that out. And then the 4th segment is all about setting one boundary that actually helps her protect her time. So we're going through step by step. I am all about, sharing how to utilize this process that I teach, that I use, so that she can feel empowered to do this on her own. So I'm so excited, Michelle, because it's just like sharing this, doing this for years, right? I've been doing this work, but now it's like, oh my gosh, you do an on-demand masterclass. This is thousands of women you can help instead of, 20 or whatever for a live class,
Yes,
So
on. And I can tell you why that 3rd season that you're talking about there, 3rd segment, I should say, is such a banger because yeah, you know what I mean? It's like I'm going to bring to the table all that I've learned. My identity is comprised of all of those mini experiences, some of them not so many, and they're all coming into the room with me, right? That's all built up back here. And if 30 years of my life has been corporate or institution,
tell it.
how do I wash that off? Because my goals have been formed. I've had more time in than out.
Michelle, preach. Come on, preach.
Well, I mean, I'm not really aware of how to take advantage of this new season because I haven't ever, maybe it's giving myself permission, or maybe it's just I don't know what I don't know because I've been an employee for so long that I need to wake up, and I can't imagine. I mean, that is bam.
I appreciate you. And it is, Michelle, we talked about this. I have a friend of mine. She was in corporate and I feel like this is kind of the part of the shift, right? So many women have gotten laid off last year, previous years. I mean, and very high up in their careers. I'm talking, C-suite, put in the blood, sweat, and tears only to get laid off on their like vacation day, coming back, from vacation.
So much of the layoff.
No loyalty, nothing. You don't care what you brought to the table. You're out of here, right? So already dealing with that type of betrayal, like it feels like a betrayal, when you think about it. But to your point, corporate life, it is so ingrained, not on the surface. We are talking about the inner workings of how we think, how we operate outside of work. Like that is how much it is in us. And it's so interesting because I like having a few women that are on like parallel paths with me, so we can kind of figure, oh, I'm dealing with this, and then, she's dealing with this, and we're, able to kind of brainstorm together. But it is so interesting that when I started building, this is my 5th business, by the way, that I've tried to, start, right? But corporate was there. It was like, I have to set this schedule. It has to look like this. I have to market like this. And I have to, and there was so much resistance. And it was just like what one of the me's was like, we are not building from that place. You need to scrape all of that off. This is something that is from your heart and soul. You know this work. You live this. You are teaching from there. You are creating your marketing plan from there. So when I'm marketing, Pinterest is like my place because that's where the women are at anyway. But
That's
it's
so
really
true.
like I'm asking a self-identifying question and I'm sharing. That's it. I'm not selling. I'm not forcing. I'm not chasing you down. I'm going to ask, hey, is this something that resonates with you? And if it does, I really hope that you find what does. And that has really been like in the threads of this business and it's changed everything. Like I have so much resistance to, traditional work structures and being able to go, no, Charity, bring yourself to the table. And I think that's part of taking those corporate layers off of understanding what parts of you, your innate gifts, your innate skills that probably have been crushed by the corporate giant for 30 years. Bring those to the table. That is what people are looking for. That is what your customer is going to resonate with you, with your story. And I'll stop after I say this because to me this was a really big deal. I had a wisdom whisper last Saturday to actually offer this masterclass with a 30-day money back guarantee. And that's unheard of for like digital course. Like you get it. Like you have the masterclass. It's there. So for me to be like, you can get your, but it's like, here's the thing. If she goes through all the sections of the masterclass, she completes all 4 activities, and she's like, no, this didn't exceed my expectations. Why wouldn't I don't want her to keep that, right? I want her to have her. I need to create an experience that exceeds all expectations. Otherwise, I don't deserve to be out here trying to do this, right? So it just kind of put it in such a higher, almost like a higher consciousness, but you are not doing this low integrity. I'm trying to get your money. I'm going to make whatever. I'm putting my heart and soul into this. So as long as you meet me where you are going to feel this. That's the energy I'm putting out. That's who I want to attract. So it's like night and day from anything I've ever built. And it feels really amazing, to be honest.
Is absolutely incredible. And do you have a sense of, okay, is there like some pre-work that a woman should do before she walks into this experience? Or are you just going to say, come with all your baggage, sweetie, I got you?
And like, I already know the answer to that question. You got to get right to dinner with me. You can come with them. It's fun. Come with you with your stamp flippers on. I think it's such a good question, by the way. No. And I think one of the reasons I created the masterclass the way I did is it is very customized and very personalized for where she is. So we are really, and even like the actual screen share and the ChatGPT walkthroughs, it is start at 0. Like this is a skill you can build at 0. And so, no, the only thing that I know who I serve, like I've been serving my woman for 15 years. I know who she is. But as far as needing to have some type of experience, you need to be willing and ready to commit to actually doing the work. But it is simple. I only do simple. So all 4 segments have one goal, not 5, not 20, 1. So we are focusing on one thing, which is very, very simple. So that is probably, I would say, my only prerequisite is come with a curious heart, a curious mind, come prepared to actually sit for, a few minutes and do the activities. Outside of that, the rest is it's my job. It's my job to give her that compassionate guidance. It's my job to make sure she is seen, she is heard, she is understood. So everything else is really on me. Just show up ready to learn, ready to be curious, and ready to be transformed a little bit. We gonna be honest about it.
I'm betting on it. And I mean, how amazing to narrow it down. I mean, you're reducing the overwhelm so that you can really go deep with it, because I'm imagining for someone who's doing this work for the first time, they're shedding, if you will, an old series of thoughts
Yes, ma'am.
around how work needs to be, around how money earning needs to be. And I don't need 50 different things to get me through that. I need to go really, really deep with what is my barrier? And
Yes.
what can I release? What can I get rid of? What can I own and remember
Mm.
that I love? 'Cause
Yes.
had to forget for quite a few decades, so wake me back up again.
It is so you're really touching on something that's so important. It's that awareness. And I think for me, really taking someone from awareness to almost like the simplest level of understanding. Like, I don't know if there's a better word for that, but awareness to a simple level of understanding, to a simple action, to that felt sense of release, like relief. It's just, I feel like we complicate things, like not you and I, obviously, but there's so many resources out there. And I've been in this space for so long. It's like, I hate to use the word self-help, but whatever, that's what it's called. And it's just, there's not enough self in the help. Like, you guys are expecting this person to be at, to your earlier question, this baseline that you haven't even set. You don't know where she's operating at. You don't know anything about her. And you're saying, go do these 5 things. What I do is ask questions. That is how you make the experience personal. That is how you customize. Because when you're asking questions, you have to explore. Oh, okay. Here's where I'm at. Like, even with the season of life questions, you have to actually think about, wait a second, what season of life am I in? And how has that affected my choices in protecting or not protecting my time? And one of my favorite parts of the activity in segment 2 is really going, okay, I'm going to identify one activity. But when you think about that, you're like, oh my gosh, I do all these activities already. That can be overwhelming. But you give ChatGPT some context of, here's a few things I do on my day off, and it's going to show you some of the things that you probably haven't even thought about, like discovering these invisible time drains. That's something that came up. It's just utilizing these tools in a simple way so you can feel that relief, because your time is one of your most sacred assets. Like, you cannot be playing with your time anymore. We're not doing that anymore. But there's also this kind of resistance of, I know that I don't want to be operating at the hustle, the forcing, but I don't know how to get past it in a way that is with ease, in a way that feels attainable without overwhelming me even more. Because like I saw a class, because I'm a researcher, right? So I want to know what's out there. I saw a class and it was like 8 weeks to time management. And I'm like, sorry. Not only am I struggling with my time, it's my week to convince. I'm not doing that. We're just not doing it. Like, what are you
Think about the title through, did they?
it resonates with someone, and I'm laughing, but it's like, I think it's super important too, because if anybody listening is like, I am kind of in that entrepreneur, or like me, where they were kind of forced into, entrepreneurship, but I don't really speak to that customer. Like, I want to speak to this type of person. There's a lane for that person. So there's a lane for the 8-week time management person, apparently, right?
True.
It's not my lane. It's from dropping it chain. That's not how it is. So that's it. Just know your person, and it'll make your life a whole lot easier.
And can we as women, this is my latest wondering. Can we as women ever achieve actual rest without guilt?
Oh, yes, ma'am. You better believe it. Yes, ma'am. That's probably going to be at some point on a upcoming masterclass. But yes, ma'am. It's so interesting because a few years back, I did this workshop called How to Start Saying No When You Feel Obligated to Say Yes. And it was very enlightening. But guilt was like another kind of high tier. So it was like obligation is like right there. And then guilt was probably like 1.1 or like 1.2 reason, right?
Mhm.
And I think the reason why a lot of us, so I'll be honest, I don't have that problem. Like I turn off, Michelle, I do not have that problem. I have the opposite problem. I don't feel like working. So y'all have to just wait and see. Oh no. I need to my and like you'll have spring master class, you'll have a I don't pin them off. I don't have that problem at all.
We have to rest to get the
Oh
most
my
back.
goodness. I'm telling you, but I do know where that stems from. And a lot of it is really how we were programmed as women, right? We are programmed for our default to be yes, for our default to be whoever needs me, I'm there, for our default to be, I don't care if I'm tired, I have to continue to push through, right? So it takes a lot of, honestly, inner work and probably some therapeutic work and, work with a counselor or something like that to figure out where you want to start with that, because that could be really, really deep. It could be connected to something in your past that you've never looked at. And so I didn't necessarily recommend going to really deep emotions with kind of tools like AI because you need support. And I don't necessarily think that tools like ChatGPT and AI tools like that are really meant for that lens. But that being said, that really is where to start kind of figuring out how deep do I want to go with this? Like the first obvious question would be, why do I feel guilty for taking rest, right? Like where does that come from? And kind of seeing what resonates. Like if your body starts tensing up, probably want to go through that work with a licensed therapist, a licensed counselor. We're talking, really your stomach is turning and you're getting migraines. Like that's a indication that you probably need to do some deeper work with some a supportive licensed, like I said, licensed therapist, et cetera. But if you've done some work already and you're really you're ready to dig into that, I'd say, yeah, ChatGPT is probably, you could see some of the alternative perspectives of, okay, here's where I think that guilt is coming from. Where can I go next? What can I, do with that emotion? How can what's a simple way? That's something that I would ask. What is a simple way with compassion and with grace that I can navigate through these feelings of guilt, because I deserve rest? And we do definitely talk about, navigating through difficult emotions in the masterclass. But again, I'm very careful with those conversations because I don't know where she is mentally and emotionally. And the last thing I want to do is try to put somebody in a situation where they don't have the support to deal with that. So that's just a me thing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of us, and it's interesting because I don't give advice. I give guidance, but the guidance is usually start with the question. Start with the question, see where it resonates, and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone is coming to this episode and say it's after March 17th, can they find a place to go where they can still take a look at this and see if they want to dive into it? What does that look like for them?
Absolutely. So it's an on-demand masterclass. So launch day is, as you mentioned, March 17th. So I don't know how long it's going to be up, Michelle, because as I mentioned, I like my rent. I like it. So you all might want to get in there before April. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Just kidding. I'm just playing. But yes, it will be on my website. I am charityyoungblood.com. So it will be there. spring 2026 masterclass. So an actual tab for the masterclass there. So they're able to find out all the information, basically, same information I mentioned. There's FAQ section, all that fun stuff, and they can purchase right from there. So
I love it. Is there another way that people can connect with you? Because people are going to want another charity fix. They're gonna be like,
or what's
a charity fix. They're gonna lower to connect with you.
there?
Is the website the best place?
I'm so allergic to social media. Have we never caught
What song?
you can hop onto Pinterest because I'm obviously there. But I do have a few videos. I like to put some 5-minute kind of free courses on YouTube. So you could definitely find me on YouTube and Pinterest. So yeah, I'm on there. I don't know if that's gonna be a fix or not, but
Just have to send everybody to the website.
that's yeah, you're gonna have to, because I don't blame my time. I'm like, if I'm not talking, I'm reading. I'm always like, how people have their thing that they do. It's like, okay, if I'm not doing this, I would rather be reading. Like, it's like, that's where my brain goes.
I love it. I love it. We are hear that. It's just such a. I'm just better now that I've had this chat with you.
I would hate to be the one that's like, oh God, they're just talking charity.
Impossible.
Cleanse myself from all that goodness, negativity, and all that. No, I appreciate.
Oh yeah, that's really what comes to mind with you. Is, oh my God, she was such a downer.
I'm glad. So funny.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Send with love for you.
Same. And I'm wishing you continued success, because and you are such an inspiration. You already know this. I'm going to tell you anyway. You are an inspiration. Keep being who you are and just putting all the goodness into the world, because there's such a misconception that AI looks like this. AI needs to be this. And your spaces you occupy, your podcast, it's just, you're like, nothing. This is what AI can look like. Thank you very much. You know what? Being the AI generation. Thank you very much.
Because of people like you, Miss Thing, right there. That's why this works. So thank you for being a part of it. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Empowered by AI, and I'm your host, Michelle Muncy Silva. If something from this episode clicked, don't let it stop here. Take one idea and try it out this week. And if you want to go deeper, head over to the Empowered by AI, the Slay Effect YouTube channel, where you can watch demos and walkthroughs from our guests today and so many others. Like, subscribe, and join us there so you don't miss out on what's coming next. All the links and resources are in the show notes. I'll see you next time.